Welcome back to Match My Smoke, and I'm the host with the quotes, JB the Oracle. Now we have another great guest today, artist, content creator, event curator, food reviewer, Foodsprung, also known as Miss Maya. Let's give her a round of applause, y'all. There we go. There we go. Now, how's it going? How you been, Miss Maya?
I'm good. I'm good.
Now, do you prefer Miss Maya, Food Sprung? Like, what? How do people even address you? How does that go?
I mean, honestly, I respond to either one. They both sound like my name. So, a lot of people it's personal preference, honestly.
N-
Honestly.
Now, just to give reference, because I know what you do, but for the people who aren't familiar with you, let us know what you do, what you're known for, and a little bit about your background.
Okay. So, what I'm doing currently, I am a content creator that I would say, more of your niche content creator. But I am foodie and cannabis, right? So that's kind of where I live, shall we say. But I started. I'm really at root. I'm an artist. I'm a visual artist, so painter, illustrator, kind of 2D artist, and have been my whole adult life. Probably, I mean, since I was a teenager. So that was kind of my first hustle. I was painting commissions. Started a business of pet portraits. So I've been kind of in the creative world hustling, trying to figure out my own lane, create my own lane, to be honest. Um, and then I started to dabble in food around 2015. So kind of underground pop-ups and like small event catering. So kind of building my brand. So that's kind of where Miss Maya started because it was like Miss Maya's catering, Miss Maya's sweets, Miss Maya's pasta.
Yeah.
I mean, my name is Maya, right? So it was a easy, like, you know, just a little add-on, shall we say. And then, so my first content was really me uh, making content of my own food to plug my own events, right?
Now, did you start in food content or did you start in cannabis content? Which one?
I started in food content.
Okay.
Yeah. I definitely was in food content. I'm not starting cannabis some years ago, some hella years ago. But in regards to my career, I definitely started with food for sure. And then obviously, I think once the rules changed in Illinois, then I started feeling more comfortable playing with that a little bit more. So it's always been part of my life and lifestyle, but I didn't bring it into my career until after I was doing, obviously the visual art and then going into food myself where I was making it. And then cannabis kind of came in a little later.
And then you've been doing food content across the board, building your page up. We definitely like a lot of the content on the page. It made us want to go get some of those meals. I'm like, how hard is it, for the creators out there to monetize off social media? And I see a lot of people do like different niches in food reviews, or is it, fairly easy?
I mean, for me personally, it's hard because I do honest reviews as well. So I think, and no judgment too, like how people want to move within this industry. Like I respect it, but I care about food way too much. So you'll never hear me recommend a spot that I don't actually think is fire. You know what I mean? And even before I was doing this, when I would see content creators, or foodies, I should say, like, sometimes I myself didn't trust them, right? It's like I'd hear like, this is my favorite taco once a week. I'm like, there's no way these are all your favorite tacos. You know what I mean? And I understand, like, if you're doing it where people are, if a restaurant hires you to be kind of like a commercial, like, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do it that way. So I kind of started this, um, not necessarily thinking as a career at first, but then I was like, all right, like I want to be the influencer, shall we say, that I'd want to like that I trust, that I follow, that like, oh, they ain't gonna lie to me about this shit. They're not saying this because they got paid. So in that way, it's real hard to do what I do and monetize on it because um oftentimes some places, PR companies might not want to mess with me because they're like, we don't know what she's gonna say, right? Or one restaurant will in like restaurants that invite me in I think maybe respect the actual work I do, my editing, my visuals. Maybe they like my sense of humor. Maybe, they want my honest feedback. So I'm always super flattered when I have a chef or an owner of a spot hit me up. And then after I eat, even like off record, like they really want my feedback, because I am here to help. I want to be honest, but I want to be here to support. I'm not trying to destroy businesses. Um,
Now, I want to ask a lot of questions about things that I'm just inquisitive on just people who do food reviews and different stuff online. And one of the things I want to kick it off with is just, when you're doing food reviews, you're going to so many restaurants, so many places, essentially and initially. I mean, who's paying for all this? Are you paying out of pocket? Is it a back and forth with the restaurants? Are restaurants just opening the doors saying, okay, if you do a video for us and content, we'll supply the food? How does that go?
oh, each for me, each one is different, right? So in regards to like what you see me post, like on my account, you're gonna see uh there are places I go in just as a regular customer. I'm paying. Maybe obviously if you're watching me and you see me filming and stuff, you're gonna know what I'm doing, right? So sometimes I'm just a regular customer and I'm gonna do my thing. Sometimes I am getting contacted, I'm getting DM'd or emailed by the restaurant itself or the owner or the PR company that's running it. And sometimes you can be invited to an influencer event, which I would say that's not my favorite way to work. Like I would say, I always get I love going to these events, but sometimes uh, I like to work solo, right? So it's easier for me to just go in when it's slow. I can talk to the owners. I can be in the kitchen and like do my thing. Um, but sorry, I digress. But it's all of the above. So sometimes I'm going in, I'm a regular customer. Sometimes I'm being invited in and I'm just fed really well. And I appreciate it. I love food. That is no lie. And sometimes I'm being fed and I'm being paid at the same time. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that whatever I create, no matter how I'm in there, stays just as authentic, right? So if I'm getting paid, it's not going to sway what I say than if I went in and paid for it, right? I mean, sometimes it's a lot easier when I'm going in as a random customer. I never met the owner. They're not waiting for me to post something to be really rawly honest. But I'm gonna be honest either way. You know what I mean?
And
So,
you
yeah, it really
forthcoming
depends,
with
but
that.
that is also what has changed. So in the beginning, when I started this, I was paying for everything, right? No one who's inviting me in when I got 42 followers, right? You know what I mean? Like the like to build it was definitely an investment, which is why in the beginning I was like smashing hella fucking tacos, right? So I could spend $2 to $4 on a taco. I didn't have a budget of like I'm gonna throw down $200 to try all these
Yeah.
all these dishes. Like, no, I'm living that like struggle artist life. Like I don't have that kind of budget.
So you
Um,
just, and that's what I was talking about in the beginning. How did that go? So you were saying you was munching on tacos, just trying to build that following up. So was it a thing where you was doing some other content and found that niche in food, or was you already your head focused and saying, okay, I'm gonna go all in on food and just start building it up?
oh yeah, no, I love food. Like that wasn't new.
So you knew off back, okay, I
Oh yeah, I
gotta.
mean like my first word was pasta.
Oh wow.
Like, as a baby. And, like, even growing up, like, when your parents reprimand you, they're like, "Oh, if you don't do this, we're gonna take this away." So they'll be like, "You don't do this, we're gonna," nowadays, like, "We're gonna take your cell phone away." Or back then, there's like, "You can't watch TV," or
Right.
"You gotta stay in, you can't go run around on the bike with your friends." My family, they'd be like, "If you don't do this, you can't have pasta for a month." I
Oh
swear to
wow.
God, like, tears would well in my eyes, cause that was, like, devastating, right? So, food has always been
Oh wow.
huge, like, I found a
Devastating.
little diary of mine, from when I was little, every entry is like I said, I was like, this time I woke up, and then I would list what I ate in the day. So I was like, I woke up at 7:33 a.m. and I had this for breakfast and I went to school and I ate, I mean, I'm saying like I'm 7 years old, right? And everything I talked about was just what I ate in the day. You know what I mean?
That was
So
the
like
most important
fast
thing.
forward, sorry, my bad.
That was the most important thing at the time.
I mean, literally, it's like, what did you do today? It's like I could meet somebody and be talking to them, and I might forget their name, but I'll remember what they ate. You know what I mean? Like, so food has always been really big. So it wasn't, and I used to cook for friends and family, like even when I was a teenager. So like,
So this
I
was a
really,
big passion. Like
yeah,
you've been since you can remember, like Henry Hill, you wanted to
yeah,
be a food reviewer.
yeah. But I didn't
Oh.
know it, right? I knew I liked to eat. That's never been a surprise there. And even so, like, I remember, like, if I talk about my friends' houses growing up, I was like, "Oh, I love to go to my friends, after school on this day." You know what I was thinking about? Their snack drawer. I was like, "They got a fucking snack drawer."
So you was raiding your friends' snacks and stuff. You was going to their house trying to raid the snack place and see
I
what
had, like,
they
Lucky
like.
Charms, like, I had, like, plain Cheerios at my crib.
You
Like,
was
I was
plotting
that
on
cookie.
snacks. So you was plotting on snacks. That's what it sounded like to me.
I was like, "Yo, their whole freezer is full of Tombstones and Eggo waffles, like a drawer of, like, fucking Twinkies and shit." I was like, "Yo, your shit place is the spot. The spot."
That's crazy work. Now I want to transition into a little bit of the canna and how that influenced your life and how you've been, you know, breaking the stigmas and using your platform to kind of try to transform some of the social stigmas on cannabis.
Yes. So I mean, since even before, honestly, since I was a teenager, it's been, shall we say, my vice of choice, my choice in social situations. Like I went to school in UW Madison, right? Like a big beer spot, right? So it's like out, you're around, and just in general, like socially, it's like, food and drink, food and drink, food and drink. So even when I was going to parties back in the day, it's like people are getting drunk and I'm finding the corner to like puff. You know what I mean? Like that's my vibe. Like I'm liking the conversations from it. I'm not gonna be sick. Um, you know, I'm gonna go off on tangents and like get comfortable and talk to people. I mean, I like it when I'm by myself. I like it socially. So it was, it's been part of my personal life definitely for years, and I use it medicinally. I ain't gonna lie. Like I got mad cramps, that shit helps too. You know what I mean? So socially, medicinally, I mean, there's so many different elements to it that I appreciate and enjoy and find useful. And so, I think there was a shift within me once it finally became legal in Illinois where I felt like I could embrace being more open about it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like worried about it. Like I never cared about the stigma, but just even like being paranoid about like getting in trouble for that shit. Um so, in regards to, even if you look at my content, right, like a lot of my reels will show me puffing, right, or I'm alluding to it, or I'm playing upon that a lot more, and it is to like to destigmatize it and to normalize it. People, and of course, people are going to judge, or they're going to be like, oh, this, that, and the other, but like you go online and someone is advertising a new tequila and they're at all of these advertisements of people happy holding glasses of beer or drink. So I want me holding a joint to come off the exact same way.
And what's the have you said, okay, it's a stance or is this something that, just super personal for you?
No, it's a stance. It's it's still a drug, of course. It's not like I'm trying to talk to small children about this, but I want it to be treated like alcohol. Like, it should be embraced and treated like alcohol. That's how sure, 21 and up, smoke responsibly, this, that, and the other. But
Now, some may say it's a medicine. Some may say it's not a drug, it's a medicine.
I mean, it's a beautiful plant, and there's so many different elements within that plant. I mean, I'm not, there are, you can really utilize that plant in ways that have nothing to do with its psychoactive qualities, properties. You know what I mean? Like there are, and I'm not even like really informed on this sort of stuff. I'm not gonna like front like I'm an expert on medicinal marijuana, but there's so many studies of even things like, people who deal with epilepsy, right? And using the compounds within it that aren't psychoactive to, you know what I mean? Like there's so much medicine behind it that it has nothing to do with getting fucked up. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So even that is super dope, like it's like once the regulations shift and it can really be explored more, I mean, and then there's a whole nother aspect of hemp, right? And like so there's like
That's a
so many
whole
different
nother world, yeah.
avenues. I mean, like we could talk about this for hours and on some shit I don't even know about. Like there's someone else who could probably talk about like the paper industry and hemp or like
Yeah, we gonna have to bring some experts or fact check or get chat in the chat.
like I don't want
And
to more people like,
yeah, no, for real. Yeah.
know,
It's a lot of bullshit information going around anyway. We don't want to perpetuate none of that, folks. We don't want to do that at all. So, you're an event curator as well. You do events. Explain to us a little bit about the type of events you throw and, where you throw them and so forth.
Yes. So I throw 420 friendly food events that are very much food focused, right? Um, and what makes them a little different than what people usually associate with like 420 food events is the spread. Like the food itself is not infused, right? So you're not coming and having to commit to a certain like dosage, shall we say. And also I'm out here wanting to showcase and bring exposure to small small businesses in the Chicagoland area, right? So obviously not so it that part is not about the cannabis at all, obviously. Like this is really about food and what I do in general. Like I'm going all over the Chicagoland area and beyond, trying food from all these places. And it's my way of promoting and bringing exposure to the businesses I genuinely do recommend and working with the owners that I really want to work with and then connecting with my followers who are watching all the stuff I'm doing. We're like, damn, I want to eat that. Damn, I want to smell. Oh, where is that? Where is this? So, and like, that's the other thing. What's the first question I get asked? Where's your favorite this? What's the best restaurant you had in the last this? Where do you go for? So it's my way of kind of bringing it all together. And then also as an artist, it allows me to play in regards to how I market, then I can kind of play with that. So like I'm designing the flyers for my events. Like that's me utilizing kind of my visual art background and still feeling like I get that sort of fix. And humor is really big for me. So how I market and how I make jokes, like that's really huge. And then connecting with my followers and really connecting with people who are making the food. But it really starts with me just being like food is my muse in a sense, and then that finding the people behind the food to work with. Each event is different too, so it's a different location every time, right? Sometimes you know where it's at. Sometimes you get an email giving you the location like 12 hours beforehand. I'll let you know the neighborhood because people don't want. They'd be like, "Yo, am I going to Woodlawn or am I going to Rogers Park?" Like so. I'll give people a heads up, like what neighborhood. So that part switches it up. But in regards to cannabis, it's creating an environment where you can partake in many different ways. So the food might not be infused, but you sit at a table with people and enjoy a glass of wine and food and this and the other. I want you to be able to smoke a joint while you're at that table.
Now, when you throw your events, do you ever worry about, the city, or has the city ever tried to stop one of the events or sent any letters out or such?
Oh, of course I'm worried. So don't be sending this to nobody who's gonna get me in trouble.
This going out national, so
No, of course that's a worry. If I worry about anything, I suppose that would be it. But it would be such a sad thing for them to they would be wasting their time. This is just good people and good food and a warm and comfortable environment. So of course that there is that risk. I do understand that my events are underground. Um it's not like I'm getting a permit to do these sort of things, but they also are private events. You know what I mean? These are private events. So it's this kind of weird loophole in a sense. But I mean, of course, that's a worry. That's the worry as I grow bigger and I want this to blow up more. That is the worry within that, right? Once there's more exposure to it, then it opens me up. But I already have haters. You know what I mean? I got people. I haven't gotten in trouble with the city per se, but there's people who are reporting my shit. You
And
know,
what has happened in this time from the, people who don't like you or wanna, I guess, stop what you got going on?
like I could have my account kind of shadow banned. They can remove a post. You could have your ticket um your ticket sale not your ticket sales taken down, but your ticket link taken down. Like there's a lot of things that can happen. Um that's
But what have you seen in a person? Those are the bots, the bots are out there.
Well, the bots are out there too, just detecting stuff. So sometimes I'm trying to be more slick with how I post, right? I ain't gonna lie, like in the very beginning, I was real subtle.
Hmm.
I was real subtle, and people had no idea what the fuck I was doing. You know what I mean? So I would try to hint it, you're using emojis. I would do a lot of like puns, like I'd be like, let me blunt about it. You know what I mean? Like I would try to be real obvious while not literally being obvious. And people were just confused. They're like, what are your events about? Like da 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 da. And then sometimes people were just like, oh, she throws food events and she just likes to smoke weed. So they didn't even realize that my events had anything to do with cannabis, right? So I started to be more obvious. So I started to take more risks. So I knew being more obvious with my content about what I was doing was going to open me up to that sort of exposure or like people wanting to report or it, uh, like I don't want to jinx it, like knock on wood about like the city coming and doing, like, you know, shutting it down or this, that, and the other. But come on now. With all the stuff that's going on and all the crime, like y'all gonna waste your time and, like, city money on breaking up, like, a chill party?
Man,
Like,
you know,
that's my brain. Of course, of course it could happen, but
I was about to say, yo, the city, can come with all type of stuff, but I was just asking, have you ever heard it or has it ever happened to you
it
specifically?
it has not.
So you've been in the clear, you've been able to throw great events, great parties, and such and such. Now we haven't been invited to any people, so I don't I don't know personally. Um, but
Well, you just started following me. You didn't even know what I was doing yet.
so she came right back at us, but I didn't know. I didn't know, but
You didn't know?
high res, gotta get invited out for
You don't know, now you know.
now I know.
Now you
And
know.
what do people who, don't like cannabis get from your events?
Oh, well, I mean, this is where it's really about the food, right? And the best thing I hear from people has been like, "Yo, that shit was a vibe." You know what I mean? So I definitely have attendees come who don't partake in cannabis at all. You know, so and that's kind of the biggest compliment, right? Because they're trusting my curation of the spread, so they're there for the food. There's usually a DJ, and if it's not a DJ, I'm putting the playlist together. And it's good people, honestly. So it's just like a nice social gathering to eat really good food and vibe with people. So I think you get a lot out of it, to be honest. Like you know, any no matter any kind of party, right? Someone who doesn't partake in cannabis and they go to another event, it should be no different because there's so many other aspects. And I want it to be an event that's appealing for all people. So when you come, there's flour, there's infused beverage, there's an edible. And I also make edibles. So lots of times when you arrive, I kind of greet you with the edible I made, which is it's optional, right? So it's always optional goodies. So and what I love about that is, I offer them even if it's like a little dessert, you get it when you arrive so that you kind of get to enjoy the effects of it at the event. So sometimes when people come, they don't know what if it's your first time coming, you don't know what you just signed up for. You're like, I bought a ticket, this sounded interesting, the food looked good, but like what really is going on? So then you show up. So you're like, oh, these people. I have people who come with friends,
Yeah.
come with your partner. You can come solo. A lot of people are like, oh, I just bought one ticket. I was like, no, this is the best thing to come to solo. You ain't eating there by yourself. Like this is. You're gonna like meet new people and chill. So that the edible aspect is kind of fun because someone will be like, show up and be like, what's going on? Eat an edible, and an hour later, you're relaxed, you're eating food. There's people chatting. I see people exchanging information, and it's just like a really good vibe by the end, you know? And then the biggest sign is that I have people come back, you know? So, lots of times people try something once, but I have a lot of people who have like, oh, I've been to 5, I've been to 6. So,
Now, how long have you been doing this, and what year did you start?
I started this in May of, what was it, 2023? So the
Okay,
first
so
one was in May of
couple
2023.
years.
So yeah, so like a good 2 years, and now I'm doing them more often. At first, is like I do one, then a couple. I'd be work on them for a couple months, and do another one. Obviously, the summer months, the warm months are a little easier. But yeah, I'm trying to knock them out once a month. The right now, I'm working on curating 3, so I'm being
You
extra ambitious
working.
right now.
Yeah, you working.
Yeah.
Now you classified it as an underground event, and then you did say private. And my question to you is, do you think that the verbiage has to be consistent and changed to move forward with the stigma?
Well, I think the underground and the private is also for me, like you said, like, am I worried about the city, right? So I kind of call it underground and private for that exact reason. Of course, I like them intimate. So of course I want these to blow up, but I would rather have numerous ones than have one of 1,000 people.
Okay.
Like business wise, like me making money, of course, 1,000 people is gonna help me like make a living from this a lot better. But the whole vibe and what I'm trying to do is a little more intimate. You know what I mean? Like 50 is amazing.
Are you trying to keep it low key?
Yeah, I like it low key. I'm trying to give you house party vibes in public, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like I want that kind of intimate behavior, or that sort of like being able to have that conversation. That don't mean I'm not going to have one that's bigger. They're all different. Like and the location and the space can dictate it. So sometimes I will do something where the capacity is 25 people and the next place is 100 people.
What is what is the average capacity of some of your events?
I would say on average I have 30 to 60 attendees at my events.
Okay, that's a good amount of people.
Yeah,
No,
it's
especially it'd
but
be
like I said,
social.
I did one in a barber shop. They couldn't have more than 30 people up in there. You know what I mean? Like the space didn't allow it. Then I had one in like a beer garden and I could have probably 150 people there if I wanted. So
Okay.
like sometimes that'll determine it. I also like with how I work this is like I like them small, like more intimate for a handful of reasons, but sometimes it's also to not ask the chefs to have to churn things out to that degree, right? Like of course, the chefs that are working with me, are working it, but I want it to be chill enough where they're part of the party, you know what I mean? I want them to enjoy the event as much as the attendees in a way,
Mm. Now,
you know?
I know that throwing events and things like that can be strenuous. There's a lot of things involved. Do you have a team that's helping you, or is it just you dolo?
Just me solo dolo, baby. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So your hands is in a lot with that. And you mentioned that sometimes you do like edibles and things like that. Um, we scoured the internet for some information, and basically we looked at people posts, social media posts, looked at some of the things that they were saying towards edibles specifically, and we looked at some of the common reasons people actually dislike edibles, and we want to read some of them off here and see what you think and get your whole feedback on that. So, the common reasons people dislike cannabis edibles include their slow and unpredictable onset, the risk of accidental overconsumption, and the possibility of intense, long-lasting negative side effects. The edible experience is significantly different from smoking or vaping, which offers more immediate control over dosage and effects. Um, so we took of course, the top 4, and I just read them off up in there again was variable potency, potent and prolonged high, risk of overconsumption, and delayed onset. What's your thoughts on that feedback and that poll we took to get that information?
I mean, I agree with all of them. I mean, I literally agree with all of them, which is one of the reasons why I do all of these things optional, right? So, and I'll be real, like I'm a flower girl, right? Like I go for flower. That's my go-to. I'm not like an edibles person. For all the reasons they just said.
Now, what's some of
So,
your experiences? That's some of the things I want to touch on with it. We know that we glad that you explained some of the precautionary things you do at the events and that you're cognitive to that, some of those things that I named. But what's your thoughts and experiences that you had with some of that feedback?
the feedback with edibles at my events themselves.
No, not at your events, but just this feedback that I gave you from the poll that was taken from all these people's feedback across the world.
Oh, I mean, I agree, right? So, I also it's like if you I like flour because I'm gonna have an immediate reaction. Having to kind of plan ahead and you're like, oh, let me take this 2 hours before I want it to like actually feel it. That's kind of hard. And everyone's body chemistry is different. So one person taking 10 milligrams and the next person taking 10 milligrams is totally different. Totally different. And then to get, if you feel like if you smoke and you smoke too much, it can kind of like you can eat some things, drink some water, go for a walk, and they'll dissipate. Like if you literally take too much edibles, I always say when you have too much edibles, it's like tripping on a leaf.
Mm.
That's all what I've always
And then when you
you
see people like, do you get people that like they don't really know, they overconsume, and just to bring more context, more people they like the taste of it or they feel like quote unquote it hasn't kicked in. So they
Oh, that
end up
that
taking more.
1,000%. So that's what happens is you're like, "Oh, this ain't doing shit," right? So you take it, 30 minutes later, you impatient, and then you take more, and then you're like, "Oh, I got too fucked up." Well, that's 2 of the points you just made. It's like you had to wait, and then people take more, so then they got too fucked up. That's like a given, which is why that's the only reason why I brought up at my events is lots of times I make something called Maya's balls. Yes, I make all the fucking jokes. Hashtag put them in your mouth. Sweet and salty, all of it. But like they taste
Crazy
good.
word.
So you're like pause, pause.
Nah, no pause. Crazy, crazy word. But no pause.
But they're basically like they're like if you like Reese's, you'll like these because they're like peanut butter confections covered in chocolate and salted peanuts. So they're tasty. So the problem is they taste good. You want to eat a lot of 'em. So I never put them out.
That's what she said.
Yeah, exactly. So, wait, you gotta put them in if you if I leave them out, people will keep going and eating them. And I don't want someone to come to my event and be like, "Yo, I can't go to her events. I got way too fucked up. I woke up the next morning fucked up." And I'm gonna be like, "That's because you ate 5 fucking balls when I told you a dose is 1." So I literally walk around with my balls in my hand, putting them in people's mouths where I can control it.
And so you actually you love the balls in the hand. You love that part of the party.
No, I
That's
lose my balls in other people's mouths.
right. That's like the best part, one of the
That's
best
the best
parts of the
part.
event. And
But yeah.
that's tradition right now is balls just
That's
out
my
there,
welcome gift to you.
balls on the ground, just
Just
out in mouths.
just ready. Start off the party right.
I see. So now we got a lot of information about the events and things like that. How do you incorporate and bring the content as well with the food review and the events? How do they all kind of do it? How do you blend it or are they standalones?
I mean, I think I hope I blended. I think I'm blended. I mean, there there's certain things that make it a little easy, right? What's one of the first things you want after you have, you know, after you smoke? What's one of your favorite things to do after you smoke?
As you the munchies.
The
You get the munchies and
munchies. So I'm gonna eat
hopefully
it. They already go hand in hand. You know what I mean? Um, and in regards to, I mean, I make all the jokes obviously as you're catching on. So, Um,
Or increased appetite.
Increased appetite. It's that I call them. It's my favorite aperitivo. It's my favorite aperitivo and digestivo. Right. It helps me get hungry, and it helps me digest afterwards as well. Uh, so being a visual artist, in regards to my content, it's really about uh part of it's of the visuals. Like, I want the food to look beautiful. I want it to look appetizing. I care about the composition and the lighting and like all of that sort of stuff. So, content wise, I think I move with it. Like, I'm looking at it as an artist in that sort of way. So, like, if I take footage and it's lit wrong, or I'm walking up, I'll be walking all over the city trying to find the right lights to shoot some shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I think there's just so many different aspects I'm looking at. You know, I also care to showcase. Like, I want the chefs and the owners to be happy with what I did. I want, if you're wanting to work with me, I hope it's because you're excited about how I'm gonna make your food look too. You know what I mean? Um, so for me, it's photography, it's editing, it's still having that visual eye. In regards to like weed and cannabis, like I said, I feel like they already go hand in hand in my personal life and then for people in general. When we're talking about a social gathering, once again, it's another sort of a social addiction, right? So, how do you incorporate food and drink? As food and weed in my mind go together just like food and drink.
Mm.
You're still consuming it, right?
Yeah.
One's in the lungs, one's.
And when you doing these food reviews, do you just eat a little portion of it, then waste some of it, or and spit it out, or what do you do?
Spit it out. I do not waste food. That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. No, I mean, obviously, no, I literally will not waste food. I'm that banana bread person. I'm gonna make a sauce out of the tomatoes that started to wrinkle. Like, I do not waste food no matter what. So when I go, if you see me eat 9 dishes, I did
Right.
not finish I did not finish every dish.
That's what I'm asking. Like, if you had a whole entree, couple entrees there, we know you ain't smashed the whole thing right there.
No, no, but I'm always assessing the dishes, right? So I'll be like, "All right, I'm looking at the food. I got 6 like main dishes in front of me. So I'm gonna try them all. And then I'm gonna go to town on the one that I think won't reheat as well, right? And I'm already plotting like, all right, so I'll take that home because that's gonna reheat good in my toaster oven. This and the other, that's not gonna reheat, so I'm gonna go to town. I mean, I'm eating. I smash like that's not for show. But I do not eat 9 dishes by myself. I definitely take a to go bag home. But then I might be snacking on that 3 hours later at the crib.
Mm. Now let's ask a few questions about the business aspect of it for those people who are out there who may be aspiring. I know when I'm out in the street, some people are like, I want to start a food channel because I talk to a lot of creatives and things like that. So, how is it that you're able to monetize off content, as well as do you work with sponsorships, partnerships, and things like that? And if so, how were you able to secure them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's where my challenge lies, especially with I how I do my business, right? So one of the reasons why I do my events beyond what I explained to you earlier is it's my way of paying myself for all of the hard work I'm doing in a sense. So I want to support and promote small businesses that don't have a budget, right? Some of them I want to help promote that might not even have an Instagram account, right? I don't want that to be determined who I'm like working with. So how do I do what I do where I'm not making the restaurants pay me? So that's one of the reasons, and one of the reasons I came up with the idea of the events is like I'm still promoting who I want to promote, but I'm not asking the restaurants themselves to pay me. So the tickets is me, kind of bringing in the chefs and my followers, and then the followers are paying for an experience, right? So it's in some ways I do like the profit I make off of the sales from my tickets uh does not equate the amount of time I put in at all. At all. So it is hard to make money. A lot of people when they make money from this, it's because they have a huge following, right? So I'm for sure I want to grow and have even more sponsorships, right? Like product sponsorships aren't as hard for me, but the monetary sponsorship is where I need to be. Um,
Right, so I'm like Cuba Gooding, cause where's the money come from?
no, exactly, and that's where I think my history of where I come from makes sense. So I always say like if I started Foodsprung and I was coming from a salary job where I was making 80K or more a year, and then I went to doing this, there's no fucking way. People be like, I can't do that shit. Like, nah, I need to make some money. But because I've been doing some entrepreneurial shit on like that creative like wave, I'm kind of used to, working by myself for myself, really enjoying and not taking that for granted, trying to find a hustle to make ends meet. But I'm not gonna front. Like I haven't reached a point where it's like, oh, I made it monetarily. Like I'm still in the beginning. Like I still need to grow. I still need to get to that monetary place where it's a comfortable place. Whereas right now I'm just hustling and a lot of my payment is the just knowing the beauty of working for yourself by yourself and loving what you do, and it's for me, it's even like the people who want to work with me, that feels like payment. So just growing it in that sort of way. But I do see that me working, me kind of becoming successful via sponsorships make a lot of sense. And the challenge is sometimes people don't when I hear no, it's because, "Oh, we only talk to people who have 20,000 followers or 50,000 followers." Or when I see I don't wanna even say my competition, the other people in my field who do it for a living, right? They are in a total different, following bracket. I think most people who are where I'm at in, like, the following count w wise, they got a day job. They got a salary job, and they do this for fun. The few people a lot of content creators don't do that as their main gig until they have reached, like, a really high number, and I took this on as my career, as, like, my passion project in a sense, when I didn't have the following to warrant that, right? Um, so I'm not trying to be discouraging to people who are within it,
Cause I
but,
was about to ask, what's some of the, pros and cons? What's more of the pros? Imma ask you
um,
now.
honestly, what are the pros and cons of any sort of like struggling creative? It's the creativity, right? It's the leeway to and the passion and the love for it. Like I love food and I love creating shit. So even if I am not making a ton of money, the fact that I'm making money from it like that matters to me, and it's not my side gig. It's not, um, the opportunities and the people who are open to work with. It's all grown, like it didn't start as my career. And in the very beginning, I started making money from it maybe 4 months in because I had restaurants and business owners hit me up to run their account. So even before I had a lot of following, I was like kind of a social media manager for other businesses, and I did that for a handful of months, and that wasn't
And
bad.
did you get that off of they seeing your page and
Yeah,
things like that?
yeah.
Okay, so that was some of the ways that you were able to monetize as you acted more so as a consultant and production company and
Right.
came in and social media aspect company, I
So I
should
was
say.
still a content creator, but I was creating content for other people.
Right, right.
Um, and and I'm running their account, right?
Now you're a social media manager.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm answering, like even when people are answering or like commenting on something, I'm answering as if I'm the restaurant. Like they don't know it's me,
All right.
but
You managing they whole social media.
I'm a managing the whole
So
thing.
that
So I
transition
was doing that for a while, and in the beginning, I was just flattered, right? Like I was doing this, I knew I didn't have huge following. So when I started getting contacted, like, "Oh, we love your work," you're and that. So I was saying yes to all these things in the beginning because I was just so happy that like, "Oh, dope," you want to work with me, you liked my work, and I appreciated that it was recognized as, it was still my art, it's still time and effort and a lot of thought. Um, and then I was really busy, to be honest. Like it's a full-time job. So you have a couple accounts and you're running it. And I started to have very little time for what I had started to build with Foodsprung. So I got to a fork in the road where I was like, okay, am I just gonna get a couple more clients, and like higher paying engaged or more prestigious businesses, and like that's what I do for a living. Like I am a social media manager and I make good money because I am running these accounts. Or am I trying to build something else? And did I really do this to kind of build Foodsprung and build that brand? And what am I doing with that? And when I came to that place, I was like, to be honest, like what I'm passionate about is not the one that pays.
And that's how it goes a lot of the time with artists just all around. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff they got to balance out finding what pays the bills and
Right.
and what they heart desires and and most of the time especially, and I've been around artists for a very long time from all
Yeah.
aspects, music, painting, filmmaking and so forth. And always the passion lies in something where there's very little economics there,
Yeah.
especially essentially, unless you get somebody to really, really, really believe. Other
Right.
than that, for the most part, you have to find that balance and take your skill, if you have some skill, and then put that into something that can pay you and make sure you keep the lights on so you can keep the computer on.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, I got a roof over my head. There's food. There's, you know what I mean? I'm also a mom. Like people don't know that, like from my account, like so sometimes I'm out here hustling and it's also to put food in other people's mouths, not just my own, you know? So sometimes when people see me eat all this food, they're like, damn, bitch, you eat all that? And I'm like, I also got little mouths I feed when I go home, So lots of times those leftovers is me feeding my kids at the end of the night. That's my other rationalization is like, oh, sometimes I'm getting paid, sometimes I'm not. But on the times I'm not getting paid, I'm still feeding my family sometimes that night.
but
So
you making it work a
I'm
few
making it
different
work.
ways,
I'm
yeah.
making it work. And that's the other thing is what's happened organically when I started this is like I was like, all right, I'm not gonna go to places that can just pay me. Like that's not my driving force, right? And money's never been like if money was my driving force, I would have never been a painter working on commission. I would have never done pop-ups and like that shit ain't for money. That's for the love of what you do. You talk to most chefs, uh they're working their fucking ass off, and it's not because 'cause they're making hella money, they have crazy hours, they gotta love what they do, right? And that's also there's so much turnaround in that industry as well. It's really everything I've ever done has always been a passion project, it's just one passion project after another, and I used to have, like, 5 hustles to, like, make the ends meet.
And
It was
that's
like,
that
I used to
starving
work
artist grind. That's that grind right
that's that
there.
grind. I'm just grown now, so I'm like, I got rid of the other hustles and I'm focusing on this. And I really I want to make it work. I want it to grow. And I think it can. It'll take time because I am niche. So I got to remind myself that it's like I try not to compare. Like I could see one influencer be like, oh, like they'll do a post like, you know, happy 1 year. I just reached 10,000 followers. I'm like, bitch. I'm like, I've been at this for 3 years, and um,
And with
but it's not a
that being
person, it's a different sort of thing. It's like I'm gonna have obviously my ass is out here, swearing, making dick jokes, smoking weed, talking about honest reviews about food. Like, that's not that's some niche shit sometimes.
no, it's definitely some
You know?
entertaining shit.
Heavy on the hip hop. And we're talking old school hip hop, not even like the trending shit. I'm playing Far Side from the 90s, like, that's why people are gonna end up following me in the end, like, "Oh, she playing a Jay Dilla track," but
I
I'm not
see
gonna
the
play
B
that 'cause
girl
I'm going at
stripes. I see the B girl stripes on your shoulder and all that. I'm like, okay.
okay, if we gonna be real, that's where I want my sponsorship. That's when I've made it. When I have Adidas sponsor me, that's what I want.
And with that being said, let the people know where they can find you, where they can check out your content and so forth there.
Yes, I'm at Foodsprung on Instagram and on TikTok, and soon I will get my ass together get my shit together and have YouTube as well. But right now it's mostly Instagram and TikTok. I'm on this other app called Atmos by 2, but it's a little different. It's less I would say it's less interactive. Um I would say I focus mostly on Instagram, but YouTube definitely where I gotta pop off, especially because I have a couple series that have nothing to do with my events. So I have a couple series like I would like to kind of grow, but those are another sort of investment because those are that's my series called Hood to Bougie. And I would love for that to take off, to be honest. Like that's like the true passion project. Um, where I feel like that could just be a show.
And so your hands is in a lot right now.
Way too
You
much.
got
I know.
food stuff going on, content going on, some entrepreneur endeavors. You got a lot going on. Look, folks, Miss Maya, Foodsprung, artist, food reviewer, event curator. Thank you so much for matching my smoke coming on the show. We appreciate you. Give you another round of
Thank
applause.
you so much.